today's fast-moving world, thriving teams and ethical leadership are essential to business success. So how do entrepreneurs build spaces where people flourish while scaling up? At Elevate One Consulting, Dr. Erica Garcia Thomas and Eddy Thomas are helping organizations grow with purpose. Blending evidence-based strategies, interactive training, and dynamic speaking, they equip leaders to boost engagement, transform culture, and drive results. From executive advising to brand revitalization, Elevate One delivers solutions that help your business do more than survive. It thrives. Visit elevateoneconsulting.com to get started. Elevate One Consulting. Innovate, grow, elevate. What if the clarity you've been searching for isn't out there, but already within you? I'm Eddy Thomas, life and leadership coach. I work with purpose-driven people who are ready to lead boldly, live intentionally, and grow from the inside out. Whether you're at a crossroads or leveling up, coaching can help you move with confidence, wisdom, and impact. This is your time. Visit eddypaulthomas.com to get started. Welcome back to E1 at Work. I am your trusted host, at least one of them, Eddy Thomas, and with me is my best friend and wife, Erica Garcia Thomas, better known as Dr. Erica Garcia Thomas. And this week, folks, we have a really good topic I think that a lot of you can relate to, especially when it comes to the world that we lived through in 2025 and are going into with 2026. And that is showing up at work when life is hard. Not just work is hard, but life in general, things outside, whether it be with family or community or, just the world around us that may be going a little crazy. We've looked at the notes from you guys. We've checked out social media. And this was a topic you wanted to hear. So we're jumping in with both feet, and I would love for you, Erica, to kind of set just kind of a foundation based on data. That's kind of our go-to here. We look at the numbers and kind of lay out what is real versus what we feel. And I would love to start off by just some of the stuff that you've looked up for us today.
Sure. So one of the things that we want to focus on throughout this podcast is resilience, not burnout.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is continuing through difficult times while emphasizing mental health rather than just pushing oneself to the point of burnout. So what we're not advocating for is burnout. And we have a whole nother podcast planned on that one for you. But we are focusing on resilience. So when life is hard, when the bills come in, when kids are sick, all the juggling that we do, it's I still have to go to work.
Yeah.
And those moments where maybe you don't have sick days or you can't take a personal day. I actually worked in a company that gave mental health days, which I thought was super cool. But when you can't, I think recognizing that stress and pushing through it can develop resilience. The U.S. Surgeon General in 2024 actually put out a whole advisory about stress for parents. It's called Parents Under Pressure. And it reports that about 41% of parents and caregivers, so this includes taking care of your aging parents or taking care of a loved one, say they are so stressed they cannot function most days. And nearly half of them say stress completely overwhelms them. So this is something I want to discuss. And then after that, I want to talk through at work. Okay. So that's us under pressure in our life, right? But in work, The 2023 APA, American Psychological Association,
Mhm.
it has a report called Work in America. And the 2023 version talks about people who describe their workplace as toxic are almost 3 times as likely to rate their mental health as fair or poor. And most say work harms their mental health. That's a big statement. So they're literally at a point where they have to decide, do I stay in a toxic work environment and suffer my mental health, or do I do something else? And many times there aren't other options
Yeah.
in this marketplace, in
Yeah.
this economy right now. And on top of all of that data, y'all, in the 2025 version of that same report, 62% of United States adults reported societal division as a significant source of stress in
Yeah.
their lives.
That would make sense. That would make sense. You know, I just look at all of these micro topics within the broader topic of stress and
Right,
what we're dealing with.
right.
And I don't know about you guys, but I just took a check, like a self check. Every once in a while, it's good to kind of check in with yourself. And I noticed my shoulders were up.
I know. I got stressed out while I was reading the numbers about stress.
Yeah,
But I can so relate. I can so relate. We're
yeah, yeah.
so blessed to live in a 3 generational household,
Hmm.
and the connectivity that our culture provides for us, because we have a lot of help.
Yeah.
And I just think that as we look at this and raising mini me's, little young people,
Hmm.
and caregiving for our elders,
Yeah.
the stress that comes with that has now been documented in the U.S. Surgeon General's advisory.
Yeah. Yeah. And gosh, as I coach people, both Eric and I coach people individually, and then we consult with Elevate One. But it all of this is so relevant because when I coach people, there's a theme that I hear over and over and over again that kind of leads me to my first uh, point. And it is the hyper individualism that we experience in the United States. The idea of, once you're 18, you know, go out and get what's yours, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and go out and do the thing. And what we're learning, when we look at the studies that Erica's brought up, if we were to compare those studies with other cultures that do not practice hyper individualism, that recognize that they need community to thrive, um, the stress levels are much lower.
Mm,
The anxiety levels are much lower. The rates of suicide, much lower. All of those things come from recognizing that we are not islands.
mm,
We are all hyper connected. And so that kind of leads me into my first point, um, that we really need to think about, as we go throughout our trip in 2026 here. And that is, what does your community look like? You don't have to live in a multi-generational home like we do, but what does your community look like? Are you in community with your neighbors? It's one thing to have somebody who lives right next door to you, but do you know them?
mm,
Are you in relationship with them? Are you in relationship with people at your child's school? Are you in relationship with the people you work with? Some of the longest relationships I've had in my life are with people that I've worked with before. So I think that would be one question for you to consider. Um, is this really a situation in which you want to try and do this alone, all by yourself? Or do you look at this as an opportunity to build community?
You know, I was raised in Silicon Valley, and I was taught from a very young age to be independent and
Yeah.
self-sufficient,
Yep.
to the point where in the early years of marriage, it was very challenging. We'll just leave it at that. But,
Yes.
you know, I have found such connectivity in my husband's extended family,
Mhm.
And with that, knowing that I am not what I do.
Say that again.
What I do is not my identity. My identity comes back to my values. It's who I am, not what I do. And you'll notice when we go out, we meet people, they walk up to us. What do you do? What do you do, man? What do you do?
That is so Western.
It
It is so
it
Western.
is. And but what you want them walking up being like, who are you? No, I mean, that's like, right? Like,
Yeah.
what are your beliefs? What do you value? I mean, that would be so weird. But really, in a sense, I was taught to go get it,
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
do what I wanted to do, and I have. And with that, I have found in the process of getting everything I want
Mhm.
for my career and my success,
Yeah.
that the beauty of life moments are not within that
Hmm.
career and success. Maybe I'll have a great convo with a student. Maybe I'll get a letter, of impact or something like
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's like legacy work right there.
Yeah.
But more often than not, it's baking cookies with my daughter,
Mm.
or it's
Yeah.
going on a long car ride with you.
Mhm.
It's sitting at the table and doing our highs and lows, and just hearing about the everyday stuff
Yeah.
and supporting one another, even how connected we are to extended family
Mhm.
through technology.
Yeah.
So for me, that balances out my stress
Mhm.
big time. It does. I am a recovering alcoholic, 6 years sober,
Mhm.
and AA has been a lifesaver. Literally, it is, I'm no longer at the point where I want a drink anymore, but I will go to those meetings and I will just have a moment of, okay, what can I control? And how can I let go of all the other stuff?
Mhm.
And there's an acceptance part of that as well.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's really been huge. I know mindfulness has been huge and conscious leadership for you,
Mhm.
but working the steps and doing that kind of work has been more than just about sobriety. It's been about growth and
Yeah.
transformation
Yeah.
and becoming a better version of myself. And it counters all the stress when I know I can go to a safe space with my people,
Yes.
with people who
Yes.
understand that part of
Yes.
me, because it's only a part, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, how has mindfulness and conscious leadership been an impact for you in this area of kind of shielding some stress, or maybe not even shielding? Maybe as you walk through it and you go to work anyway.
Yeah, I think, as gracious, that's a really long story. Not yours, but me trying to unpack that whole thing. So maybe I'll come back to a longer version of that at a different time. Um, First, I want to say I'm so proud of you for recognizing that there was a ripple effect
Hmm.
from, being in community with AA, because it wasn't just sobriety. It
No.
was, it colored the way in which you saw the world,
Hmm.
relationships, how you work,
Hmm.
how you interact with others. So that's a key point. So I want to say that. But then the other part, when you ask me about mindfulness and meditation, those are just tools in the box that come from a long line of things that I've been gifted in my life. My family, whether we call it this or not, practice Ubuntu. Ubuntu, and that's understanding that I am because we are. I know that I could not be the man that I am without my parents, which many people would say that, but I had uncles and aunts and cousins and friends and neighbors and pastors and priests and rabbis and Buddhists who have all poured into me in various ways throughout my life. And so to be able to draw on those lessons have been immense for me.
Yeah.
Like I'll give you for instance, because I was doing something and didn't even realize that I was doing it because I didn't have the language at the time. I'm going back to basketball, of course, guys, here. So one of the things that I struggled with early in my career and as a freshman, sophomore in high school were free throws. I would get so nervous at the free throw line. I could do all kinds of things, rebound, pass, shoot, whatever. But free throws, I would just get so nervous.
Mhm.
And I had a coach, between my sophomore and junior year in the summer who worked with me on visualization, taking breaths, know that it's going in. And hey, Eddie, if you miss it, it's not a big deal. You're still Eddie Thomas. You're still a great kid. You still work your tail off, getting yourself in the mindset of accepting what happens regardless. And this is me at like 15, 16 years old.
Mm.
Well, I learned at the age of 40, 42 years old, that's mindfulness, not judging, being in the moment and accepting that, hey, this really hard thing happened just before I had to go to work today.
Mm. And you still went to work.
I still went to work. I acknowledged it. I couldn't shut it off because there's some, some leaders that I've worked with, and I'll call them leaders because we're all trying to become a better version of
Yeah.
ourselves as leaders.
Yeah.
Some leaders that I worked for or worked with who wanted me to try, in those stressful moments to leave it at the door, just focus on the work. Well, that's not real for a lot of that is real. Accepting that right now this thing is happening, but I can't control it.
Mm.
This person is sick. My child did the thing at school, whatever is going on in life, accept that it's there and put realistic expectations on what you can do in that moment.
Mm.
And it's not something that I was able to do immediately. It took years of mastering this and realizing that as a human being, there are just limits. I'm not omniscient. I don't have superpowers. I don't have a cape.
It's acceptance.
But you will hear over and over and over again that we are supposed to be these superheroes of independence.
I'm tired.
And you
I
should
can't
be.
be a superhero.
Right.
I'm a
Right.
human.
Right. And everybody listening to this is a human being that is capable of doing a lot of things. It's one thing to go out and run a bunch of marathons. I have a really good friend of mine from childhood, David Goggins, who was brilliant at motivating military men and women, athletes, about breaking through and pushing through pain and all that stuff. And there's a place and time for that. It doesn't necessarily fit, in my opinion,
Mhm.
at work. It doesn't fit at school. It doesn't fit at church. Though there's a mindset that is um, more of one that would be of acceptance, that realizing, okay, this is the reality. Now, how do I push through? How do I do the thing I need to do? Um, and I think that's where we should probably head next is how do we, what kind of tips or things have you seen successful for yourself when dealing with life when it just
Mhm.
exploded on you?
I was thinking about my connectivity to work friends and right away. And so I think being in it together, it's almost like shared trauma in a way.
Mm,
Having someone that I can message on Slack or, chat and ask how their day's going, things are with them,
yeah.
makes me feel better and more connected. And then I think just my trusted friends of being able to use text and,
Mm, yeah.
ask for prayers, ask for support. If I need someone to make dinner tonight, like a neighbor will bring over dinner. Like it's,
I think part of, and I don't know if you said this directly or not, but part of your ability to not be the superhero is in the communication skills that you've developed. The honesty that you've been able to develop with coworkers, myself,
Mhm,
about where you are
mhm.
in a given moment. Not divulging your dear diary, like you're not giving everything, but you're able to give people enough to say, hey.
Why'd I just think of Jimmy Fallon when he does the notes?
That's
You killed me just there
oh
with the
gosh.
pen and he lifts it up and
Yeah. It's
my
still funny to me. I haven't seen that for like 10 years or however long it's
Okay, if
been,
you have
but
no
it's
idea what
hilarious.
I'm talking about, I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
But yeah, I do want to go back to one thing when I mentioned my first point, and I didn't even think about it, and I think it's a critical part because you didn't just mention Danny. We'll put her info in the show notes too because I would
Yeah,
love for people
we
to
need to have her on.
check her out. But in terms of community, I think there are a couple of others that need to be mentioned. We talked about family and friends, and I don't want us to forget how important therapists are.
Mhm,
If you have the ability to get yourself a therapist, I would highly suggest it. I think that incorporating that into your community is incredibly important. Along with that would be a spiritual leader. If you happen to be someone who practices a faith, being able to really have a deep conversation about the things that you're going through with a spiritual leader is critically important. And then also, I can't tell you how many people um, that I've personally been so overwhelmed with their appreciation for having a coach. The individuals who have really benefited or told me that they'd really benefited from being coached is a huge part of that too. So just wanted to note that there are three. If you're going professional, to add those kind of professional tools within your community. But for me, when I think about a couple things that really work for me um, in terms of being able to deal with or manage the stress, besides mindfulness and those meditation practices, I really think of two things. One would be utilizing micro boundaries. And I say micro because it's not the same as like setting a boundary within a relationship where you're saying, these are my, non negotiables, or you can't cross this line, that kind of thing. Setting a boundary might be saying, when you're handed a task, to say, I will make sure that's done by the end of the week, instead of busting your hump to get it done today. There are a lot of overachievers, perfectionists who want to get things done because it means a promotion or it means some sort of recognition or opportunity. Um, but being aware of where you are on a given day and how the personal things that you're dealing with might spill over into your work, it might be wise to take a day or two to get that project done as opposed to the quick turnaround thing. Um, I think the other part um, might be very similar in that when you're looking at um, the expectations that you have for yourself um, in a given day, it's really a self check. Earlier in the show, I was talking about just taking a minute and realizing, ooh, my
mhm.
shoulders are really up. I need to take a breath.
Sorry about that.
No, it's I'm sure everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people might have had a similar experience. But really checking in with yourself on where you are, taking that time and figuring out, okay, what is realistic in this moment? Am I at a 30 when they need me at a 80? Um, you know, here's a big one. Am I on social media throughout the day? I can't tell you the amount of stress that has gone down for me when I transition my social media off of my phone and put it on my iPad. I'm not checking it every time. There's not an argument that I need to, weigh in on, or something depressing on the news that I end up seeing, and then that takes me even further down. But yeah, I just, those were two things that came to mind when I was thinking about ways in which, little things, these aren't major things, just two little things that you could do to help deal with some of the stresses that come from outside of work. I think my call to elevation, and this, I'm hoping that I'm not the only one who is wired this way, but one of the ways that I'm able to feel more self-worth, more calm, less stress, is in serving others. I don't know why. It's the weirdest thing. When I feel like I am in service to someone else, what I'm carrying in that day seems to get smaller because I'm helping someone else overcome something. And it could be something small, but finding a way to be of service.
But that's considered service too.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah. So we are wrapping up here, folks, and we want to thank you for listening in. This topic is expansive. It is much more than the 30-minute episode that we've given you. So what we'll do is make sure that there are plenty of things for you to take a look at in the show notes, things that might be very helpful, resources that you could download, places you could go, and people you could talk to. So for E1 at Work, I'm Eddie, and
I'm Erica,
and let's make a good one. See ya. Say Something Studios.